Hello, welcome to Soulprint Insights. So we are now at the beginning of April 2020, and this is a difficult time. Okay, it's hard, and maybe the hardest part of all of it is not surrendering to the fear, to not letting that fear, that worry, that anxiety just sort of like overwhelm you. You know, a lot of the channelings of Masudius, some of them started literally 16 years ago, maybe longer. And as I go through them, it is fascinating to me. They don't stale date, right? They are just as valid now, in fact, perhaps more so, than they were when they were originally channeled. And so that's fascinating, isn't it? To think that all those years ago, there was preparation work being done to get this information out at a time when it would be most needed. And for those of you who subscribe and watch and send your lovely, lovely comments, I thank you. I love the community that's being built here, and I'm not building it. All of you are. We focus on that which is positive, that which is kind, and that which is loving, and we're supportive of each other, and that is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So, as I was going through, the manuscript and looking at the readings and the channelings and trying to figure out which one I wanted to look at next, I came across this one, and I just thought that this was really a good time to share this information, because we're in a situation where there's kind of this tendency to just hold tight, because everything feels so out of control. And every day it feels like we're losing more and more control of our lives, of our autonomy, of our ability to grasp and accept what's going on around us. And when that happens, we clench, right? We just grip, and we don't want to let go. And we don't really stop to think about whether what we're holding on is actually worth holding on to, as much as we just become sort of so caught in fear that we won't let go. We don't even think about what we're gripping. So at some point in time over the course of these channelings, I reached out to Masudius, and I wanted to know how to surrender. How do you do that so that you can let go? Because we kind of live a life where we're really used to hanging on, right? We're used to hanging on to what was. We're used to hanging on to what might have been. That's always a really dangerous one. We're used to hanging on to what we had hoped. We're used to hanging on to bad situations because we're scared that a worse one awaits us. We hang on. And sometimes that's great. Sometimes that's what's needed. Sometimes that's what you need to get to where you're going. But I think sometimes what we're hanging on to actually doesn't really serve us very well. So I turned to Masudius because I wanted to know, how does one surrender? And of course there was an answer. So I'd like to share that with you right now. Pause for a moment and think about the tremendous expenditure of energy that is used to hold tight. Acknowledge the effort it takes to control your surroundings, and notice how ineffective these measures have been in attaining that which you desire. Fear creates a block, which does not allow the energy to flow with ease. Surrendering is as simple as acknowledging that the method you have used in the past isn't working, and release the issue to the heavens. Remember You change something in your life only at the point in time that it no longer gets you the results you desire. I'm repeating that. You change something in your life at the point in time that it no longer gets you the results you desire. We all do it. We all do it. So you look to those habits, whether they are physical habits, eating, overeating, drinking, substance abuse, whether it is clinging too tight to another, whatever it is. When it stops working for you and you realize it's not working for you, that's when you change it. So part of the trick, I guess, is to figure out faster when things aren't working for you. And this is true in all areas, activities, and habits. At the point in time when you acknowledge when you acknowledge that what is, isn't, it is then that you can choose release, restructure, and allow the new higher vibrational energy to move in and start the change. So, to release, say this: I now surrender this situation and stay in stillness to allow positive and new energy to move into place. I work with my higher consciousness, the heavens above, and the divine to allow the insights, guidance, and opportunities to be made manifest now. I now surrender the situation and stay in stillness to allow a new and positive energy to move into place. I work with my higher consciousness and the heavens above and with the divine to allow insights, guidance, and opportunities to be made manifest now. Could it really be that simple? Everything on heaven and earth has been created to allow for the soul's continued growth and development. All is in place for the soul's evolution. Inherent in each of us are the tools of healing, insight, reflection, intuition, and the ability to harness the powers of heaven and earth for the good of all. We stand ready at all times to assist when requested. God watches over all, and nothing and no one are without the tools to create the perfect space and place for continued growth and remembrance. For just a moment, reflect on the fact that fear is the opposite of love, the same emotion at the other end of the spectrum. You may think it is hate that is the opposite of love, but no, it is fear. In fact, all emotions, all of them, are in the range between love and fear. Picture this as a line or a road that moves from dark to light as you move from fear into love. See yourself walking down the road, leaving the fear behind you, moving into the light of love, the light of creativity, the light of healing and instant manifestation, the light of wisdom and acceptance, the light of joy and happiness. This can be done within moments when you determine that all your past efforts have not served you and that it is now time to move with grace and confidence in the direction of the lights of love. Stillness is another factor we would like to address. Oftentimes, those reluctant to surrender are in perpetual motion, instinctively understanding that to stop would lead them to reflection. True reflection will usually lead to a place where you have to honestly assess your part in the very situation that is now in need of releasement and healing. Yet, it is in this very stillness that the heart can be heard and the insights will come. It is in stillness that the love and voice of the divine can be heard. It is in stillness that the soul can absorb new vibrational energy to affect change. That is why taking time for rest, reflection, and meditation are so very important. And since so many of us are self-isolating, we certainly have a lot of time to do some of this work. Surrender can and should be a gentle and easy experience. When you realize that you do not walk the path alone, you can easily hand off and let go. When you realize, accept, and believe that there are times that you have walked freely, there are times you have walked with support, and indeed, there are times you have been lifted and carried. This is the power you release to. Always remember that that which you cannot or will not release cannot be healed. Your own grip, which is your free will, sends the message that you are not ready for the healing to take place. Ask and you shall receive. Release and relax. Walk with confidence from dark to light. Fly assured that your wings will take you to your next destination. This is the path of all. This is the pathway that allows for higher connections to be made with the divine and all the blessings that are held out freely within its hand. We remain at this time Masudius. So this is really one of the cool things about the spiritual quest that each and every one of us is on as we move through our lifetimes. We come equipped with these understandings. We know this stuff. Some choose to completely block that energy and that information, and that's okay. You don't have to convert anybody. It's their choice, and they have free will. And they won't be banished from the light for not spending a lifetime acknowledging the light. Kind of, think of it this way. So you have a child or a grandchild or a niece or a nephew or someone special in your life. And one day, because maybe they're busy or maybe they're really immersed in something else, they forget to say, I love you. You don't banish them to, the dark because they forgot, and nor does the divine banish us. So there are some of us who just have chosen to block it for whatever reason, maybe our life purpose or the experience we want to have. That needs to be blocked off. Maybe because we're going to really learn something interesting when we just don't have a belief in anything outside of ourselves. Maybe we're there to learn that there is something outside of ourselves. There are some of us who come filled with light. Filled. They understand it. They know it. They didn't forget any of it. And those are the masters. And the rest of us, well, we fall into this really, really broad range that I like to label, you forgot to remember. And that's what these journeys are about, right? It's about, and that's how come when I say things to you, you go, of course, I get it. Why didn't I remember that? I knew that. I used to know that. I used to practice that. This is why. We all know it. Part of our journey is to remember to remember. And therein lies the magic and the experience and the joy. Don't beat up on yourself. You're not supposed to be perfect. You're not supposed to be without flaws. You're supposed to be learning and growing and having new and wonderful experiences. We all have a lot of time on our hands right now. Maybe for some, it is the perfect time to think about what needs to be surrendered in your life. Take care. And remember, until the next time, you stand in your strength and you stand in your light. Bye-bye.